Mousesports once again. Nades come through, does a decent amount of chip damage onto Frozen and a core.
More damage done to Hunter, though. I think overall the HP advantage just about favors Mousesports. So you need a pick, ideally, to get that definitive player advantage. Haven't found one, they'll just go for the execution as standard. Molotov's under the site, smokes to suppress Amanek. He'll back off. Nico's going to start rotating up at spawn. Good flash, should have in theory forced Amanek not to get the kill, but still shoots on Frozen, still gets the frag. He does concede the bomb plant, though.
Retake set up, and even just the protocol to come through from Amanek, play out towards Car, try and get a shot off, and then just fall back from long. He's able to find the connection. That's the man advantage the CTs need, and they can slow it down, try and set themselves up. They've got a late lurk in the lower tunnels that can come through from the short position, try and catch the T side off guard.
They are watching it. A core is there for the short presence. Rops also being seen. Headshot on Nico's good. Amanek finds Dexter. A core trades it. Now left to the elbow player and a short player. Sprays all for the next level. He has Nico to back him up. A core with his second pick. Nade close does damage. Bomb still open from there on the defuse. Needs to swing. Needs to get the kill right now. Needs to get the kill. Doesn't land it. Hunter there to back him up. He needed to land that first attempt. He didn't do so, and G2 have their 10th.
You've got a lot of hype players on G2 when it comes to emotional state, right? Winning rounds, getting hyped, and keeping the comms loud. And you've only got to imagine that in a state like this, they are getting pumped up. They are really clawing this back. And Mousesports finally take their first tactical or dust too to say, guys, what's happening here? We have had a massive lead for a very long time now, and it feels like G2 is starting to come alive. 5 rounds in a row now for G2, a 14-5 scoreline at one point for Mousesports. Now, it's got to a state where they are on max round loss bonus, and with that bomb plant in the last round, they will be able to have enough money to get a buy forward.
This comeback is definitively on, though. And how heartbreaking it would be for Mousesports to lose this at 16-14. Again, as you mentioned, when they were 14-5 up. And I have to say, much like that last game, it's a very awkward early and mid game from G2, followed by a definitive late game that looks amazing from them. This time it might actually win in the map here. And by extension, the series. They have lost that first pick. Jax is heavily tagged, hoping for a trade back on Rops here in the tunnels, but he's got to be careful. He's the only definitive player on the site. Hunter's got to cover off mid and back up the B site if the XG starts to come forward.
Yeah, Acor could be the winning play in round 25. The sense that he's already got a pick down from mid and a tag up onto Jax. Acor is just hoping for a repick. Hunter with the AWP is not going to give him the angle. And this is the first time in a really long time that it feels like for Mousesports that they've got a definitive advantage.
Oh, next giving up information. Turn away from the G2. 2 players up. Frozen finds that one frag. Dexter finds the follow-up frag. There is a trade involved, but a 2v4. And you can see G2, Hunter and Jax already backing up to the B side. Rops is hunting that late lurk. Doesn't get the frag off on the first tap, so he opts just to fall back instead. Smoke at the entrance. And G2 look to escape with 2 players. 15th for map point on Mousesports. Finally getting there, but G2 still have a lot of momentum.
And they can start to close in on these CT players. It depends on how much the T's want to risk into it. They know that Rops is obviously quite close towards the upper tunnels and was spotting both of those CTs trying to get into position. Boost up over from window for Hunter. Creates a nice angle to look down to at least the bottom of mid and from CT. Bemis and Acor maybe trying to see if they can find a little something, but it seems like they don't want to press the issue too far. 15 on the board for Mousesports, and now all they've got to focus on now, Jay, is closing. They've got to 15, they've got to map point, close it from here.
Yeah, do not let G2 get anything more, because if they do, there's still a chance that they could lose this map up. Yes, it will have to go to overtime. Yes, it will have to be that extra bit of grinding, but 15-10. Very possible here for the CT forces. Flashes over, out of the gate. Nico sees one. Nexa doesn't see the other. Can't get on top of the cinder blocks. Eventually the nade of Nico will finish off the job that was started towards Rob's follow-up nade on Bemas. He stays alive at 14 points of health. Continue the fight alongside the rest of the Mousesports side. The Incendiary is forcing out Bemas, trying to escape, but indeed it looks like he does.
So much utility damage coming in towards the T side, trying to get out from Longhouse early. Bemis is down towards 14. Rops has already been dealt with. And now a slow walk out from mid. Timing has got to be everything on this.
Rosen and Dexter leaning up. Smoke down at CT. Molotov trying to be attempted. Flash in for Hunter. Nade back. Damage should be done. A core actually falls to Nico. Spray. Jack's on site to support his man. And the AUG drops the bomb. All left to be mass 1v3. And it looks like G2 will continue their survival streak. Will continue to stop mousesports from going past that final hurdle as all 5 players get cleaned up. What a defensive hold from the B-Bankers.
Yeah, they look solid. They looked really on point. The protocol was there, the flashes, the nades, the way that they're able to reposition each other and just crossfire between one. 11 now up for G2. mousesports. You've got to wonder at what point does another one of those tap pauses come in, because they only need one round to take Dust 2 and go over to Mirage. I've got enough money to get for a buyback, but Dexter is going to be eliminated. Only on a deagle to start off. Another play out towards the Longhouse. They lost a lot last time that they did this in the last round. Flashes everywhere. Nexus got it in behind them, but Frozen's found the first pick.
3 more CD to find your power. Is one of them. Nico with the AK gets that first frag, not that second. 2v4 once again for G2. Hunter trying to flash in, trying to line them all up. He gets one frag, damage to the second, but Dexter stays in play and Jax has got it all to do. Has to clutch it or die trying. Sees one crossing, spray does damage. Rops and Dexter are extremely low. If Jax can maintain his position on 100 HP and can isolate those 2 picks pretty effectively, it is doable to get this to a 1v1.
The only problem, though, for him is that the element of surprise of his positioning has already been known. They know he's out towards CT, and the T side just don't need a face here at all. They don't need to give up any individual jewels. Dexter keeping his head down from that short position can't be seen by Jax. And he's just waiting for a peek, waiting for a bit of a moment. Underhand smoke, trying to go down out towards a long position. A-Core peeks with it, and mousesports finally close out. It got very dicey towards the end there, but when you're up 14-5, all it takes is a couple of good rounds, and you'll take the map.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, that's going to get a little bit weird for G2. The comeback most definitely was on for the boys, and you thought at the time of about 14-10 or so is when things really looked good for the G2 side. Again, a very awkward early and mid game coming into a really confident end game for G2, but mousesports, they had such a lead by the end of it that they were able to tip over. It feels like the reverse opposites of Vertigo apply to Dust 2 in that one, and as a result, we go to a third map to wake.
Both teams taking each other's respected map picks, and you go into a third of Mirage, and I think there's a lot of question marks on who's going to be able to take it for mousesports. They probably could have closed Dust 2 out in a 16-5, 16-6. It did go a little bit more of a distance, but for them, they can be like, all right, that's gone past us. Now let's focus up for Mirage, and we could have a big battle on our hands here between the two.
Well, they are familiar with Mirage going quite the distance, as the last time these two teams played it, it was a 16-12 win for mousesports. Can they make history repeat itself again and take the victory away from G2? We'll have to find out after this short break, so do not go anywhere as the IEM Summer Qualifier rolls on with our third map after this.
Fucking lie. Ain't nobody nobody, whatever. Ain't none of my business. Ain't none of my business. Nobody, 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 ain't none of my business. told me, do you know? I told me, do you know? All along in your head, but you don't have to pretend that you will make a change. 'Cause you don't wanna change. I'm gonna be real honest this time. I'm okay with it, I am more than fine. I'm gonna roll all less red dice now. Tell me I won't get out. Tell me I won't get out. I wanna walk the sky, alone among the stars, without forgetting who I was, or have to look back that far. And I don't want to forget who, get who. And are you just fucking around in my mind one last time? I'm gonna be real honest this time. I'm okay with it, I am more than fine. I'm gonna roll all less red dice now. Tell me I won't get out. Tell me I won't get out. Tell me I won't. Trap me inside your walls now. Tell me I won't get out. Tell me I won't get out. Crush me with all that you are now. Tell me I won't get out. So tell me I won't get out.
Oh, I see the signs and I see we're there. And I feel the lies and I feel the sand. Forever who we are. No matter if we're cast away, a fire in the dark. I know that you won't be waiting again. They're looking at us in audience, keep telling us what we can do, but here we are, showing them, making them wish they were you. We've heard the most when it comes to this, yeah, every shade of blue, but don't even care what they'll say. They think we're out of control. Yeah, truth be told, we know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids. We love the thrill. They're looking at us in audience, keep telling us what we can do, but here we are, showing them, making them wish they were you. We've heard the most when it comes to this, yeah, every shade of blue, but don't even care what they'll say. They think we're out of control. Yeah, truth be told, we know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids. It's just the way we live. We know it. It's just the way we live. We own it. 'Cause stop, we love the thrill. We know it. It's just the way we live. We're grown-up kids.
Well, mousesports and G2 have taken each other's respective map picks, and the end result is going to be map 3, Mirage, where we have already seen these two teams face off against each other in recent history, or I guess kind of recent history. It went the way of the mousesports side at 16-12 in that last series. Will it go the same way here, Dwayne? Seen two very opposite ends of the coin in both G2 and mousesports. A very similar state of affairs for both teams on both of those maps, and as a result, it's going to be difficult to weigh this one up when you take a look at the history so far in this series.
Yeah, it's not easy to kind of call exactly how this third map is going to go. When you do look at the recent run of form on Mirage for both these teams, you probably do want to favor mousesports slightly better, considering they're on a 4-map winning streak, whereas for G2, they're on a 3-map losing streak. So there are obviously some differences with the teams that they're playing in both teams in terms of calibers, but overall, this series has been really close, and I think it's going to come right down to the wire on Mirage.
And again, very, very different affairs for both those teams. When you compare how Vertigo looked, it was an early start for G2, turning into a late resurgence for mousesports. The G2 were able to tip past the finish line, and the same thing and vice versa for Dust2. So I'm very confused as to how that whole thing has worked out. I will say there's certain elements were missing for G2 on that second map. I could say the same thing over with the part of the mousesports side on the first map. But we definitely saw the resurgence of a core over on Dust2, and I think that's probably going to be the main difference maker coming into this one, because he looked lights out. He looked like one of the better players for the mousesports side, and I think that if that AWPing ability comes to the fold here over on Mirage, then we could be looking at a seriously good mousesports side.
Yeah, he wasn't towards like the top end of the kills by any stretch of the imaginations for Mouse, but he was playing a lot better and he was finding the really important kills, which is what granted mousesports, I think, such an early lead. Like for them, I would even say that probably Dexter and Mytha are going to be sitting there after that Dust 2 game saying, guys, we should have closed that out a lot earlier. I think that if they were to close it out in like a 16-5 or 16-6, we probably would have looked at Mirage and thought, oh, they look so dominant, they brought so much momentum forward. But then there is that caveat that G2 towards the back end of Dust 2 looked really good, but it was just too late.
Yeah, and I think the win condition right now for me, for these two teams, has got to get that early start, that pistol and that first rifle round. If those two things can go their way, then I think the respective team that gets those two, then they're going to have a really high chance. If they can catapult that into an overall lead and a really confident sort of a stance for that respective squad, then I think that's what's going to be the difference maker here on Mirage, because that's what the difference maker was on Virtus.pro and Dust 2. But in terms of playing a little bit of fantasy here, outside of those two, things like that, I think needs to go their way. What are your win conditions for G2 and mousesports here?
For mousesports, they just need to play their own game. I think against K23, they really were able to find a lot of momentum, find a lot of form, and they've just got to make sure that Dexter has consistently been putting up numbers. I think that he's been a very important element for mousesports in both the first and second map, not only as a caller, but just in terms of a fragger too. And for G2, they've just got to be making sure that they're finding their impact and they're finding it early. They're 0 for 4 in pistols. They've never really got off to early starts in either half in all two maps of the series. They've got to be able to turn things around for themselves.
That they do, yes. And to take a look at this map in context of everything considered, I want to ask you, Dweg, who do you think's taking it? I mean, it's a very difficult one to weigh up. I realize that I'm going to be putting you on the spot here in that respect. We've got our predictions in pre-series. I know that I went G2 and you went mousesports in that respect. Do you still think that mousesports have what it takes to win Mirage, given what we've seen in maps 1 and 2?
Yes, I do. I think that they've got the goods. I think that in terms of the veto, Mirage is a much stronger map for them, and they've been able to play very consistently. For G2, it will be a very interesting series to see exactly how down to the wire it can get, because you've got to think that this map could be the closest out of all two that we've seen so far.
That it could be indeed. I'm still holding out hope that G2 have the hit here on this final map of the series. The pistol goes live. G2 did win the 9th round, so they get the CT start here. Defuse kit on Nexa for the USPs out in tow. Full sets of Kevlar for everybody except for Nexa, of course. Utility in for Dexter and Robs, the single flash smoke and HG for both players. Gone on to actually a P250 for Robs, excuse me, so he's actually evaded the smoke entirely, but he has an upgrade pistol in play.
Nade out towards that sandwich position. Unfortunately, no one playing there for the city side. And a very big info play coming through. We're seeing aggression up towards top mid, hearing so many of those footsteps towards the T side, and now the rotates can start to come through. They can gamble stack up from A.
Ready and waiting to make the move. mousesports. One flash for Robs for the entry. They've used the smoke down already. Jax draws first blood, finds Robs, takes that utility out of play. The follow-up kill from Hunters there. Nexa follows suit on a core. 2 standing for the T side line. That bomb's been dropped in the open now. They've got to recover it soon. And there's Jax, another good frag on Frozen. Nico finding BMAS as well, and that is a flawless CT pistol for G2 to kick things off on the right foot.
Oh, what a play to come out from Hunter. He just aggresses up from top mid, and he hears so many footsteps in T-Spawn, and G2 go, right, let's just gamble stack up towards the B side. Hunter's even able to take a pick off to one of the players that's got utility, and from there, it just falls apart really quickly. Rops is forced to take a fight out from Palace, and when it's a 5-on-3, so many more individual duels start going the way of G2. They don't take a lick of damage. A beautiful round for them to start off their first pistol of the game.
Scout in on Rops' part, hoping to see more CT presence. The force back at the mousesports side, trying to see if they can put the hurt back on G2 early in this game. We mentioned how they've gone 4 for 4 in pistols. Now 4 for 5. Haven't needed to turn the conversions back to their favor so far in this one. They will give it the best shot. So far, nothing found.
G2 are just looking to be able to bounce back on Mirage, knowing that they lost to mousesports, Furia, and Spirit recently to make it a 3-map losing streak. Being able to get a result over mousesports will really sort of tiptoe Mirage back into their map pool. A resmoke can be thrown out towards a ramp position as soon as Nexus sees contact. A force buy here from mousesports hasn't really granted too much, but they have been able to slow walk at least a player towards the bottom of Connector.
Warp watching, flashes at the ready. Scout, I should have said, for Ops. Desperate to find something out of Palace. The flashbangs will start to come through. He'll start to act with his teammates, and Akor finds that first pick. Nico there with a trade on beam. Mass and the bomb dropped back by Dexter's part. Akor still swinging with a deagle out of connector. Finds one more. His teammates have fallen to a 3v2 though. That bomb's out in the open as well. Nexa SMG here on Tetris gets a single, not a double. Actually a triple overall against the remaining players that remain frozen. M4 picked up, bomb on his back. Smoke also getting a bit of cover, so can cross to the site, potentially get the bomb plant on default, but swings before the smoke goes and blooms. So it's a 2-0 for G2 as they take that final frag.
Nicely done there. G2 were able to get caught off a little bit aggressive out towards sort of that ramp and Palace position, but it got to a position in which the rotates just came in really quickly and they were just holding their ground, taking fights pretty much everywhere. And nothing found on the response there from mousesports. If there was a bomb plant that would have gone through into that last round, we maybe could have seen another force spy coming in, but they opt against it. Just going to be a light eco to follow. And for G2, the chance for them to go 3-0 up and farm more money with these SMGs.
SMG wraps over, gets the kill. Hunter, nice and effective. Dexter, the same can be said for him. Deagle back. 4-on-4 scenario as Rops looks for his Deagle shot on the CT spawn player. That's next scene. But not dropping to the casualty. 4 versus 3 from G2 here.
Yeah, run boost out towards the mid position. And for mousesports, you're just hoping to try and get a couple of pickoffs. And maybe try and see if you can scramble the player out from the apartments of Jax to be able to at least find a little bit of an entry in terms of Frozen. The G2, though, not really offering up any kind of aggressive duels, and even this bomb could just get spotted for the player towards the top of connector from Hunter.
Kill on a core. Dexter doubles up, though. Getting some decent responses in of his own part. Amanek with the USP close, however. Take a simple headshot. And all on Frozen, still doing the damage. This is 2 rounds where at least 3 casualties will go against the G2 name. Frozen with his back turned towards next, so if he can get this next pick back in, he still has the chance to win the round outright. He's got a bomb plant in, but jump facing the M4 spray. And his back turn couldn't do anything to counter it. 3-0 to the start. G2 pistol conversions 1. Now mousesports up on the buy.
Yeah, they've got to be careful here in what they invest G2 because the money is not going to look great in terms of the reserve. You've got Nexa down to just $300, Hunter less than 1,000, even lower now when he gets those nades in. Amanek under 1,000 too. So you've got 3 players on double eco status here from G2 if they do lose the round. So it's very vital for them that they convert going into round 4. And it's going to be a bit of aggression coming up from the mid position. Nico just smoking down from connector. Takes a little bit of opening damage from the HE though.
To start for mousesports, no kills as of right now. Molotov's inbound, Frozen watching, but Jax sees his man and gets the headshot in, takes damage to return. Hunter gonna go for the wallbangs, he tries for it, but aiming at the wrong angles. If he looked to the right-hand side and aimed up to the kitchen, that would have been enough, but no. No trades found by G2, no contact other than that first face. Jax paying the price, mousesports are the ones in control.
And whenever you've got an SMG in like a bit more of a bonus round, you want to try and get an advantage with it and get it somewhat aggressive. So that's what G2 try and do. They get a HE and an incendiary down towards the end of the apartments, try and get Jax very aggressive in, but it doesn't quite work out in terms of the fight. Amanek now being forced away from this top of connector position, and for mousesports, they've taken mid control without really any damage being taken from them outside of Frozen with that early contact in the apartments.
Hunter with the M4 backed up into market, watching the window entrance, the right timing to do so because that's where mousesports are aiming to exit from. Utility down, 1 player crosses. Second player does get tagged, but also stays alive. The bomb yet to make its way on site, but Hunter forced back by the 2 individuals that have made their way on the site itself. And I think G2 are considering the safe call here. Yeah, plant down short, no one making their way up. They're going to just save the weapons.
If you're Dexter, you're like rubbing your hands together thinking, this is it, boys. This is how we get back. Knowing that the last couple of rounds have just been like so deadly in terms of only 2 players surviving, and now you win a rifle round without anyone falling in your regard, you can start, you know, building up a bit of a bank on the T side. And for G2, they realize that it's probably not worth it. They go for that, they lose that round, they're going to have to be on a force buy anyway. So rather than try and risk it, just save onto all the weapons. You could buy Jax in by himself. He's got a fair bit of money in the reserve, considering he was the MP9 player in that last round. First up for mousesports, though, And G2 won't struggle get the buy together into the next.
Getting their first round of the board here for this map up. mousesports still down by 2. Task available for them still needs to grind back against the G2 camp. Got a lot of work that still needs to be done. Looks to buy back for G2 is going to see featuring all the rifles thanks to the rifles that they saved in the previous one. AK is a standard for mousesports, no casualties. And the AWP for Amanek gets aggressive. Sees that first, but Frozen dishes out some revenge. Jack's going for that Ferrari peak many times over the course of the last 2 maps. Now Frozen gets 2 of his own. He does burn the Jacks from beyond the grave, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. Hunter trying to make it 2-for-2. Seeing the flashbang turned away from Molotovs. Back in as well, burst through, fire damage not being done. Finally, BMAS gets caught off guard, but Nex has fallen in turn. Dex has been seen at this tight gap in between the short and the truck positions. Hunter does back up though, with Nico falling. He's the only player left. Wrapped in upon by Rops. Gets that second round for mousesports.
Oh, that was pretty much flawless for that B take, and they just had to rely on Frozen to just crack open the side, and he just got 2 like super quick entries, and from there they could just keep putting utility down, keep trying to jiggle peek out from the apartments, wait for that wraparound to come through from the late lurk from Robs, and that round is over from there. G2 now in a position where they've got no money, they're going to have to be on a light eco. And for mousesports, this is the perfect opportunity of now being able to tie up the scoreline. 3 rounds in a row for G2 to start, 2 in a row now for mousesports, looking to see if they can bring it back to 3v3.
Molotov's up on the start, it flashes into the mid control. And the 2 players at the sniper's nest have crossed past that smoke. Gotten into ladder room on 1 player at the boost. No info being gathered by mousesports just yet because they aren't in underpass. There's 1 player that's making his way there now. Of course, suspects there is going to be some sort of ladder room presence, though. That AWP watching. Jack swings, tries to bait out the shoulder shot, but Akor looking the wrong way at the wrong moment. Doesn't get his chance.
Yeah, all they need is a molly in towards ladder, and that's going to at least force one of them out into the open. Great leg shot coming through onto Jax. Do they suspect a second player to be there, though? Because it might be a little bit of a bait. I think Hunter made a little bit of noise in ladder.
Does get a kill regardless, though. BMAS thinking he's up on the ladder itself. Trying to escape to the sniper's nest, but the kill found by the CT player instead. The Eagle back in Nico. They're not watching connect. Dexter adjusts against it, though. And Hunter, 3 position towards the B side, thinking there might be a B play inbound. That bomb has been dropped, though. It's not committing here.
Yeah, they're lucky about that on the T side. That was a pretty awful top con smoke. There was a big, large gap on that left-hand side, and we saw that Nico was trying to work with it. Nex has been able to get a backstab in. The CT side really need to try and slow this round down, and now Frozen's caught off the B player. That's going to allow the split into B.
That might be enough as well. The only rifle, the only real firepower they had, and now just sandwiching in the B site entries. Back at market, they've got that control. They've just isolated the short player to get to the site, get that bomb down. Win the round for mousesports. 3-all against G2. It's so eerie how these patterns have worked and how many times they've repeated over the course of this series. But for mousesports, they're not complaining at all. Like you mentioned, Dexter, be real stoked that this is their way back into the matchup and this early on into the matchup itself.
Yeah, they're starting to find some decent form here on Mirage. And for G2, I've got some worrying signs of kind of what happened on Dust 2, where they just set themselves back and they don't continue getting involved. I wonder what the buy status is going to be like going to the next round. They'll have enough money to get a full buy forward, but you wonder, do they start going double AWPs onto both Nico and Amanek, or just run that single AWP setup? mousesports, on the other hand, I mean, players are even getting close up towards like 10K in terms of money in the reserve.
There's some very confident rounds going the way of this team. G2 should be able to recognize that. Of course, their buyback's going to come through for round 7, regardless of what the money state is for mousesports. Glass cannon in for Amanek. So there is going to be limitations here and there. No head Kevlar, that's fine. Utility is going to be the main sticking point, though. Only one player with a full set. AWP looking in for a call, looking down into the A-bomb site. 3 players stacked up, but no one taking contact on that face. Expecting our AWP to have been boosted.
I think it was a little bit of like a miscommunication with the buy too, because there actually could have been Nico buying himself armor and an AWP and dropping that over towards Amanek. Whether he wanted to get that extra little bit of utility and the kit forward is maybe another question of why that didn't come through, but you are seeing Amanek glass cannon completely naked with that AWP. And with a triple setup out towards the A site, with Jax just jump spotting towards the apartments, trying to see if they can gather some info. Rops being that late lurk out for the Palace position, but if they can catch off this jump spotter, this could be the early entry in towards a B site.
Jax hoping for a big play here. Jump facing with the smoke in tow. Not seeing anything now, he does. Smoke off to the right, M4's waiting. Flash is turned away from M4, trying to adjust in. The flashbang keeps him safe for the moment. Frozen be traded back by BMAS though. Two more in the mid control. Nico swings back on Dexter, isolates that pick. Bomb can get to the B site and get planted. It's all on Rops lurking back here at top mid. First frag found, second not so lucky. Nico on 13 HP gets his double. BMAS is also low and Hunter is looking for his frag. That bomb should be secured from here though.
Oh, Hunter could get in for behind both of them. Seeing the tap come through, and now even the incendiary on towards the side. Bemis has got to swing wide, fight out to the open, and it just doesn't happen. A really nice retake coming through from G2. And for mousesports, they had double lurks out from mid. We saw that Dexter was playing up from that short position. Robs was even further behind. They wanted to cut the rotations off, but instead, it seemed like the CTs were aware with that. Dexter didn't find anything, and Robs only found a one-on-one trade. They needed to find more to allow that bomb plant to go down successfully and allow just some safety to come through from the anchors.
And seeing how low Nico was in that round, you would have hoped that the Rops would be able to win that secondary fight and turn a 3-on-2 to mousesports' favor. Then the round could have been very, very different, having to worry about the mid control. And the backstab that would have been inbound there for the T side, but G2 get away, maintain the lead for the 3. Orbs back in, of course, the buyback of mousesports should look confident. They had a lot of cash coming into round 7, they'll have a lot of cash coming into round 8, instead a little bit for round 9 as well. I'm gonna jump up in the run boost for a core. Can't see anything into the mid control. We'll hunt for Hunter though, he's back behind the smoking ladder.
Leaving the bomb up towards TV for the T side indicates that even if they are able to get a pick, they're not really going to go quickly in towards an exit. They're going to just keep trying to slow down these defaults. In towards a mid control. G2 haven't really been fighting mid. They've never like played in towards an aggressive comm play or even out towards ladder when it comes to some of the rifle rounds. Oh, timing is everything though for Frozen. Do they check the position? Oh no, they've got him behind them, but they still get the pick. Nexus starts the crossfire. Hunter gets involved. The most unluckiest timing in the world, and G2 make it promising. Rob's down the last one left in a 1 versus 4. What a round from G2.
Imagine for a second that they didn't check the box corner. It looked like that was the case, but I think Nico jumped up on his head and realized, hold on, I should be dropping off here right now. Winning the round for G2, just maintaining it. There was a moment where you thought mousesports could have stuck their way in, but no. 5-3 to the board, G2. Still have rifles to contest here. Again, mousesports had a bit of cash out of that last round. Saved in for this one with the loss bonus starting to build. Got that AWP on a core for a 3rd in a row, but now they've got to actually win one here because their economy is set to be reset.
Another stack up towards CT, this time around from G2. 2 players, Amanek and Nexa, trying to work in one another. Maybe a bit of a palace dive can come through with mousesports from 2 players here. Spam through the smoke. Even the HG is able to deal the damage in the end.
Nico trying to be finding the trade here for Robs. Robs does get the kill in, but loses a lot of HP for it. A core now acting into connected control. There's no one from short that can deny him. Amanek realizes this. Nexus trying to force forward though. If he can win the fight on Frozen, he can dismantle this whole round as a core takes some damage. And the M4 swings, sprays through, utility in hand for Frozen. Couldn't defend himself. Amanek with the AWP couldn't do the same at close quarters, but Nexus finds that trade, looks back for the 3K and gets it in whole. A core shut down by Hunter the same, and G2 finding some more confidence on the CT side.
They're all over the place, G2, but they're on the right page, which is really working well for them. We see that play to come out where Amanek is playing under dark with the NWP, bit of an off angle, don't really see Orpers holding that angle, but then even for Nexa, like he presses quite aggressively in towards ramp, drops that bomb, and I love the protocol. Rather than just kind of wait and hold the bomb, he's looking to try and take some fights out towards the Palace players, ends up with a triple. And mousesports have now got no money, another eco going into round 10. G2 starting to run away with this lead now.
And that ain't enough to get a kill on Dexter. Nexa getting credited with the frag. No Kevlar for any of the mousesports players, so Orpin looking down towards the ramp position. Expecting there to be more T-side presence. Right now, mousesports are just trying to bait in G2 to hopefully make a mistake. Right now, they're not biting.
We saw what? mousesports get off 0-3 down, 3 rounds in a row from GT, responded by 3 from Mouse, and now 3 going the way of G2, looking to make it a 4th. It's been very streaky coming through on Mirage, which hasn't really been the same for Vertigo and Dusto. It's been a lot of back and forth nature between these two sides. And mousesports just hoping to try and do a little bit of damage on this eco, but so far they haven't really been too successful at all. Not a lick of damage coming through. Jax with the flash. Looking at line up, there is one kill that comes into Robs. If they can deal with Hunter up on the site, there will be a chance of getting the bomb plant in, but Bemis is now the last one. Low HP on 7 points of health. Should be the 12th kill up for Hunter, and so it is. Hunter's now starting to put up a really good showing, and he was like that on Vertigo.
Yeah, 12 frags deep. Only player that can match him is Nexa here. So those two guys being double hunters compared to Vertigo. And if that's the case, mousesports have to be scared. Right now, the concern for them is going to be that score line. That's the main reason to be scared. Well, the rebuys back in for them, but they, again, need to win some of these rounds. They need to start getting something back on the board here. They got the turnaround 3 compared to the pistol and conversion, and it looks like they'll get no more, especially in this one as Hunter and Nexa again combined with flashbangs and peeks forward. Nico there to support his cousin. And the frag goes the way of the CT side.
It even seemed like Bemis knew what was happening. There was a lot of util towards that top mid position, and he was backing off. He was trying to get to safety, but the CTs just weren't giving up. Amanek now looking out towards CT, does get punished by Robs, meaning that there is one more player back over towards CT that's got to try and find some impact, and Nex has already given away his position.
It's a good flash peek in for the T side. Now the HP advantage favors them in a 4-on-4. The T's going to get very close to the CT line here. Connect the jungle. The nade's back on a core. Will do some more damage. Nades to return to the CT side. Not quite dealing with Hunter. He's still in play. Nico on the other side of the site not being seen. Rock's so close. They're hoping that G2 falls forward early. But Nico uses that distraction to his favor. Kill found. Frozen trades back. Jax Nexa still can't find Nico. He's disappeared through the smoke. The bomb plant's got to go down soon enough here, but the CTs have re-established their presence on the site. Nexa in particular. If he drops Dexter, that'll be round done, I think. And yeah, there comes the kill.
Yeah, this round is pretty much over. They're going to really have to try and work together. The flash even comes in, and Negko and Nexa just work together. Another great gun round on the way for G2. And for mousesports, you could just feel it slipping. You can feel the momentum really grinding here for G2. And Nexa and Hunter, like these guys are just putting in so much work, multi-frag after multi-frag. And for mousesports, you've got to wonder, when's the next tack coming in? And there it is, straight away into the next eco. They're getting into a bit of a state now, Jay, where anytime they're not winning rounds, they're not getting bomb plants. It's not like they're losing the post plants, so they're buy eco consistently for the last, 4 rounds or so.
They have lost a half as well as a result of that. They need to buck up real quick. Time is of the essence, and they're running out of rounds. It is very early doors, still in the first half, but only a few rounds left of that first half. mousesports showing no signs of what they held over in the previous time they played Mirage against G2. Just none of it there. Looking a lot more like Vertigo was, with G2 just absolutely running away with the CT half so far. The Deagles, the Tech-9s in the Scout, and the FAMAS, the MAC-10, I should say, in play. Almost as good as FAMAS there for BMAS. Good shot from the Scout on Amanek. Starts things off, actually. That's a good kill attempted from Rops, but no frags being found. Nades on, damage will be done. Jax hopes to get the first frag, but Dexter is there with a response to a 5-on-4 and making it 3. Okay. Dexter's fragging, and the bomb has gone down.
This is an instant save call for G2. They don't want anything to do with that. A couple of beautiful entries up for Dexter. It even seemed like they were aware of the play to come out from the round the corner swing from Dexter, but still hits the shot very, very quick. And for mousesports, that's now a chance for them to kind of pick up even more weapons and try and take them off the dead bodies of the CTs of Jax and Hunter. And what a way back in. Wasn't quite a rifle round, but it's still very successful. And G2 realized, nah, we don't really want to throw too much away from this. We're on single round loss bonus. We still got a decent amount of economy in the bank, but why kind of throw it away in a 3v5 retake instead? We'll hold on to the AWP. We've got the M4 and the AK to back it up. mousesports, though, they've got to be able to continue applying pressure. They can't just win an eco and then not follow up with the next rifle.
Yeah, that's the thing, following up. The one thing they couldn't do on Vertigo that much. And G2... knowing they can get so much out of this next round if they can win it themselves. The saved weapons for mousesports will be in a positive state. Are they not going to... Okay. I thought for a second they were going to leave a core in the Deagle and just take the Mac 10 and Scout in as a bonus round, which at this stage, I don't think that would help them in the long term. This is what they're still going to hold here. Still got the Mac 10 in for BMAS. Still got the Scout in for Rops. Onto the apartments default here for the T side. Looking like it might just be a fast execution.
Try and get that XE in with the late lurk from Underpass of Dexter's, trying to see if he could hold the players out towards Connector. And this jump spot from Jax, he's starting to hear the utility coming in over the top. He's got to relay that information over to Hunter. And the Anchors
Lovely.
just lose the fights instantly. This has got to be another save call from G2. They can't go for this.
Well, you say that, and Nico is peeking up short. Past the smoke. If he finds a pick, his teammates come in to support the 3v3. Ideally, they'll find Frozen being the low speed player, but a core takes that kill instead, and Nico's not allowed anything else for the 5th for mousesports. I had my doubts about the setup, but clearly they're there to shut me up. The Mac 10 got the frag as well for BMAS on the entries, so well done to them. Very beautiful stuff, very quick and efficient, and a 5th of their board. So mousesports are starting to grind back against G2.
It seems like they found their formula in these BXs. Like, their entries have been really, really drilled, and they're finding it really smoothly. They don't really take a lot of damage. The only player that drops is Dexter, who's on the mid lurk. A 5th round up for mousesports. Really starting to see if they can claw their way back into this last map of the best of 3. G2, though, still with a lot of money behind them. They're going to now take a little bit of a tactical and realize, okay, is mousesports going to hit B again? Like, you know, when you kind of go into the mind thinking where it's like, oh, he's gone scissors in this, you know, scissors, paper, rock. He's not going to do it again. Is mousesports going to go for another B? So actually, do we need to stack it up a little bit more? Do we have a heavy lean in an early round and bring 3 players over towards the B side? This has got to be some of the conversation coming through from G2.
While we have a moment as well to bring you a quick B stream update, because we've failed to acknowledge the FPX versus Big is currently ongoing, and the winner of that match takes on the winner of this one. And Fun Plus Phoenix just managed to beat Big in the 3rd map of that series at a 16-4. So they will be up against the winner of whoever this is for the qualification match a little bit later on today. Right now, and the concern is getting through the matchup itself for G2 and mousesports. Flashes over. Start things off in the mid control. Much more passive from the T side this time. They're out in the apartments entrances. They're hoping for aggression on B, but it's coming through towards Palace on A.
Another B-side play, or at least trying to get the util over the top and see if they can draw something out from the CTs. A bit of aggression's coming through for Nico and Rops. Oh, this could be another timing play. Who's going to check the position first?
Oh, no, not again. Not again, Dweck. Rops has no idea. Nico gonna hear utility, and actually he'll be the one to win the fights. Information gathered as well, seeing nothing else on the T-side. Utility thrown over towards the apartment. Jack's gonna wait and bait and just drop that bomb easy on the site alongside Hunter there on the site for the defense against Frozen. Dexter and a core. 2 versus 5. Tags up, heavy damage sustained. A core now all alone. And G2 going to get to 9.
great defensive hold towards that B side, and they found a bit of a different way where they try and set themselves up in different sort of anchor positions out on B side to defend with the execution. And even for Nico, like, he's just making an information play, pushing quite aggressively towards Palace, and as soon as Rop starts lining up util to fake out towards the A side, he knows that's an easy kill. They start putting counter utility up towards the apartments, and a ninth gets one from G2. It's an important ninth, but at the same time, it ends the streak of a few from mousesports.
Smokes up, nades inbound, Amanek. Incendiary's coming close as Dexter leans up towards the short control with the AK, hoping for some CTs here in the ladder rooms. He might catch anybody that might face in from jungle, but Amanek's way too far forward for that, and also not in Sniper's Nest. Nico's gone for another aggressive lurk, and this time Rops is a bit more forward of the position, so won't get caught off immediately, but if Nico continues pressing on, then he'll find a lot of info.
He could spot that bomb, depending on how far he actually pushes. And look at how much aggression we're seeing from G2. Jax is pressed up aggressively out from the back of the apartments. You've got Amanek waiting for the walk up towards Con. And even for Nico, probably just waiting to see if there's like a bit of a rotate back towards the T spawn, because there's no way the T's are going to be walking that far. They need a flash in towards this kitchen area. They've got to be able to deal with Jax. I wonder if they realized that someone could have pressed up.
BMAS is looking to check here. Flash forward, turned away from. Kill comes in, but Jax instead. But Nico's found by Rob, so it's a 4v4 very quickly. And Frozen finds Jax to the man advantage. mousesports in an upper player. And looking to go towards the B play, I believe. They've still got that lurker of Rops and one man here to defend on the B site itself. Hunter, ready for the swing. Sees Dexter. Dexter Fry, can't deal with the AWP. As Rops follows suit on Nexa, it's all left to Amanek in a 1v3 situation for this retake for round 15. Has got to go for it. Doesn't see the AWP on short. Does see the AK on side, though. That's a frag for Frozen. Anything more? Will a core fall as well? Amanek's being very careful about this face. He'll see the gun barrel first and foremost, but a core gets even more passive as Amanek gets baited closer. The shoulder shot forces that AWP to miss its bullet. Now looking back to the apartments where Rops is. Shot connects. A core would have swing that Molotov on the bomb itself. Amanek's got the defuse kit. Got to be careful about this, though. He's got to stick the whole 5 seconds, and he might have to do it right now. 7 points of health, but got to just tap on the AWP, forcing the peeking of a core, coming in late, and he wins the fight. Just to keep it together for mousesports, just to get that 6th to recover going into their CT side, still trying to pull something back. Here on Mirage, we head to a break and see whether they can do it.
Erase the doubt with your battle cry, with your battle cry. You feel the earth move to the drum of steel boots. Banish the fear inside. You're strong enough that you don't have to hide. You're strong enough with your battle cry. Brings you to your knees.
Up, 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 1,000 miles of luck. Don't look down, we made it. Feet far off the pavement, and we go up, up, up. 1,000 miles of luck. We stay understated. Pressure feels amazing. Just the dust, just the sand, just the motion of your hands. Travel light lanes, it's just enough, oh yeah. Just for you, I'm just a man. Just just a notion in the wind. We ain't gotta make plans. Fair enough, yeah. Always you and me, tryna be weightless. Like we're the two surviving pieces of something. Always you and me, tryna be weightless. And I know it feels like a light years in the making. Up, 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 1,000 miles of luck. Don't look down, we made it. Feet far off the pavement, and we go up, 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 1,000 miles of luck.
On G2 at a clear advantage. mousesports looking lackluster on T. Now the CT side kicks up for them, and they have to get the pistol for me. I think they need as many advantages as possible, so this is the start of the advantages to come. Utility set for Nex on the execution. 2 players to hold Jax. Deagle's down BMAS. Rops can trade back Nico at least. Of course, seeing players over at jungle, letting them cross, and the bomb will go down.
Yeah, they've still got a couple of flashes for Nexa to kind of work with, just to be able to stall when it comes to this post plant. They know that there was Rops sort of stuck out towards this Palace position, and for him, he's going to really struggle to find impact in this round. A bit of aggression coming through from Hunter. Rob's reading the position, but Hunter still wins the fight.
Frag found 4 versus 3, G2 up at the man advantage. mousesports pressing on. Dexter will lead that charge. The IGL appropriately up in first. Amanek with his flick towards Dexter, though he'll be the casualty. Next, Frozen can return to a 2-man standing. 1 player left. No, Akor getting the kickback. Amanek leaving it to the Wasp man standing. Akor gets the 3rd kill in with the defuse kit. Just enough time to hold it. mousesports don't get it. Oh, you would have thought it was just enough in time, but G2 take 10.
He didn't stick that bomb straight away. I'm not sure what happened, but I heard the bomb like being tapped twice. Whether he accidentally got off it the first time and then tried to stick it on the second. If he would have got it on the first stick, that bomb would have been defused, but it doesn't go the way of mousesports. Really great stalling out from the firebox position. G2 get up to double digits, and mousesports come back in with a force buy, desperate to try and see if they can bring it back in their favor. But for G2, this could be the warpath now.
Rops taken out early in this round, G2. Burning that first player alive. Not a Mac 10 frag. Still good enough to open up the round, and they'd be happy with that. G2 looking for any more mousesports players, but none of them are showing their face. Again, they're not giving anything for the T's to bite on.
I'm very surprised in how many SMGs are actually coming through here for G2. And notice as well, they haven't bought down to like $0 completely. Amanex at 1,400. Nexus got a little bit behind him. Jax too. So if they do end up losing sort of the anti-eco, they do have money behind them to at least be able to get the force investment into round 18 with a little bit more backing. Already finding that first kill onto Rops with the molly down towards Connector. Slow walking towards a short position, looking like they want to try and act towards a B split, but they've got to deal with aggression in the apartments.
Dexter watching with the Deagle, hoping to get that first frag in. Frozen does find Jax on shore. 2 to line up, none to go down. Dexter and Frozen overwhelmed. BMAS also taking damage of the scout. Does land on 1 frag at least, but Akor got to do so much more here, and while his clutch attempt was great in the pistol, here in the conversion, it's very far off the table for them.
G2, they're just getting quicker and quicker now, up to 16 by the looks of it. Like, mousesports force buying into round 17 means that they'll be down, what, 6 to 11, and then it's going to be an eco with a backed up Deagle and Scout. Maybe this could be some other upgraded weapons, but not really a lot. You're probably looking at a 12 to 6 lead for G2, and even Hunter is trying to see if they could just do a little bit more exit damage. Doesn't really want to give that Galil up towards the CT side, but if they could just take another player out of play, that could make a big difference maker. Beamers hearing the footsteps. Can Galil find the fight? Yes, he can. Takes a little bit of damage for it, but now Scout is the only weapon saved in.
11 to the board. mousesports of no major buy, just saving those weapons in, buying a couple of deagles and PT-50s around it to get a little bit more involved. Shouldn't be around. You can expect mousesports to win. They'll give it a shot. A core looking for that first pick. Does see Jax, but Jax opens up with him.
Jax has been really impressive on T side over the course of, I want to say, all maps of the series so far. Hunter even being able to flick up on towards Dexter, and he's still been having a lights-out game as well. 19 kills and only 7 deaths to come through for the man. And mousesports have got a few deagles and a P250 left now for their city basis, but they just try to hope to see if they can get a couple of kills. And even for Frozen, they know that he's playing out towards Van.
Closing in closer. Flashes off the walls. Amanek, Mac-10 looking to bear down upon them. We'll watch on the site itself. Shot from Frozen not connecting, taking some damage to 9 points of HP. Nexa overwhelms with his own Mac-10 instead, and B-site under their control. Bombs yet to commit, and actually, Robs could throw a bit more of a thorn on their side. I don't think the Deagle will be able to hold off against every player, though, especially with the AK of Nico. Moving up the face, Mac-10 also closing in from the apartments. They'll get the kill overwhelming anyway. Last player standing at BMAS, falling to Amanek. Team ace for G2, 12-6 to the board. mousesports need to make up 6 in a row if they want to try and bring this back.
That was a nice little bait with the sound cue. They didn't really know that there could be a backstabbing player in T-spawn, but there's a bit of noise being made from Nexa trying to go quite far forward with that Mac-10 that kind of brings the crosshair up towards that position of TV and 4 ROPs just when Nico's able to spring. So just those, little intricacies are going very well for the G2 side. Fast play out towards ramp, or over towards the mid position. Lots of flashes coming out too. AWP has been heard out towards a window position, but with it being smoked, Hunter's going to be able to try and get this top con smoke in, and everyone regrouping up towards the apartments.
Hunter, swing and a miss. A core gets his own hit instead. Fair to fall there in the sniper's nest. Mac-10 of Amanek does try and overwhelm the likes of Dexter, and indeed gets that kill. Frozen on short, needs to line up 2 sprays, transfers it to the second man, but doesn't get the kill on Jax. He stays alive at 14 HP, and a core on 17 as the first responder to the 3v3. Bomb goes down, it's retake mode for mousesports.
No kit and no HE or incendiary for the CTs to work with. Deep molly in towards the marker position. That's going to try and separate a core from his teammate. And for Robs, he has not been seen out towards a short position, boosting a player up towards Ninja 2.
Creeping closer, BMAS goes down and Eco. His AWP stepping up for another good frag and a man advantage regain, and a core looks for the exit strategy. Are they saving their weapons? They're not pressing forward. AK swing. Rops gets that kill at long last, but it's come in way too late. A core knows it. Rops by his way back out here. They're chasing down into the market area. The AWP could be on for a couple more picks back. Jax will go down with the bomb, so there's going to be 4 casualties for G2, but a 13th to their board, and mousesports really running out of time now. 3 to the win for the T side in this map and in this series. mousesports, they've got to get going now more than ever.
And they have to force buy here into round 20. They know that A-Core could drop an M4. Rops will be able to drop an M4. It does mean that Dexter's going to be on the MP9 himself, but you have to in this position. You're down 6 to 13. You're only limited by 1 player when it comes to the buy status. Frozen going quite aggressively out towards the mid position. Not quite committing all the way. A lot of incendiary damage again coming through towards that connector position.
Just Jax looking into the mid control as Frozen tries to refine his position here in Sniper's Nest. Connector cleared out. Short being taken instead by a Core's AWP. He's looking down for that mid basis as the aggression comes in from the CT side on ramp. BMAS in particular leading the charge alongside Rops behind him. And they leave mid control entirely. Leave that one lurker in Nico. AWP in play at Palace. G2 stack up into the B apartments.
Bemis is thinking about going maybe quite aggressive for a bit of a lurk play out towards the ramp position, see if he can gather a bit more info. Hunter is just waiting for the jump spot out towards window. So passive here for the T side. They're just waiting for a mistake.
Smoke some mollies from Nico, trying to indicate that there's going to be some sort of A play, but as Rops gets that kill, he sees no more T-side presence, and they hear footsteps in the apartments. Dexter quickly wraps over a core with the AWP shot on Amanek, 5 versus 3, and Dexter close to the site. A core lands 2 frags though. Frozen lines up 2 more in the apartments control, and mousesports will get their 7th of survival round, their first of the CT side, and first of many that they need to bring this back.
Oh, what a hold to come out for the B anchors. You can see that Nico's just in Palace, gets a smoke down for stairs, Molly out towards the sandwich position, and he's just trying to try it and see if he can isolate a bit of a pick, pull the rotations away from B, and instead between Acor and Dexter, they're able to do so much. You've even got that rotate coming through from Frozen. 13-7 up for G2, a survival round in for mousesports, a much needed CT round to go their way. G2, though, it hasn't really affected their buy status going into round 21. They're able to get the full rifles forward.
The M4s watch for contact. Expect there to be more presence. G2 playing into the mid position. As Rops back up in the sniper's nest, sees nothing still. G2 are very, very careful about where they take face. mousesports also not aggressing. It's going to be another B commit, it seems.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of B-side X's from both mousesports and G2 on the respective T sides. A little bit more of a split play, though. You've got 2 players looking to try and lean in for the short position.
Flashes inbound for Dexter, jump face to see that one individual. The Molotov's in. Amanek tries to turn 180 against him, but Dexter wins that fight. Rob's there to support against Jax's kill on the short control. They flash their way out. Hunter does get blinded, but Dexter goes down regardless. 2 for 1. Frozen at back bench. Hunter taking tags, but Frozen finishes off the job that was started by the M4 on short. Nexa can respond to a core. There's a 3v2, making it 1 as Bomb goes down and Nico's alone, found by Rops instead. On the other side of the site, it's an 8th for the mousesports side.
Unfortunately, that lurk got cut off so quickly from Hunter trying to come in from the short position, and it really feels like for both of these teams, it got to a point where they're able to understand exactly how they want to play the B-side to deal with these X's. mousesports in the last couple of rounds have really turned up the heat, and for G2, they've got no money left in the tank. They're going to have to eco going into round 22. And even though the scoreline is then by a round differential of 5, Jade, this could still be on to be very close and down to the wire in the second half.
Well, very similar to the comeback of Dust 2. I keep making comparison points to this series because these patterns just keep repeating. Nade stack from mousesports catching Hunter as well. Start off for them in this round. I don't think we've seen any of those so far in this map up, but or in this series in general. And mousesports advantage taken. A core peeking back with the AWP. Frozen's there to bail him out from short. Finds Nico. Jax dead to rights in sniper's nest. 1 more player being seen. Amanek found by Rops as well. So triple up of him and Nexa 1v5. Not even a lick of damage done to the CT side.
For the difference now for mousesports, G2, got to wonder for them what, in terms of the playbook, have they got to offer. We haven't really seen an A-site set piece from them, haven't seen a Palace dive, haven't really seen any like lurks aggressively in from mid when they've taken the control up towards ladder or in window room, really slow the round down. Amanek going to be on a Mac 10, and Nico is on an AWP that's been dropped over.
Well, the best of buys from G2. Can still win rounds like this. They've got the majority of the AKs in, and of course that AWP. But once again, mousesports not opted to go for the mid control. It is a B set piece. You're right, Dexter backed up over at truck. 3 players to receive him. He's got Frozen on the other side at short. Sprays through the AK. Dexter swings back, gets that 1 frag dink on the second. Frozen can find Nexa. And Amanek being solo. That nade should get him. Indeed, he falls. 3v2 as Hunter's still trading. That bomb's been dropped. BMAS has no idea that Nico's made his way out. That scope of the AWP should give away the information. Got a minute and 10 to play with here for G2. They slow the pace of this round down. Again, they have to get BMAS. If he gets anything done right here, this could be difference-making in this round. Nico knows it, checks it out. Hunter does get found in the apartments. However, Nico set to clutch.
He's got to get back up towards that bomb. Hunter being caught off by another backstab in from Robs. Get that bomb down, try play out the post plant. Instead, he looks to go aggressive up towards a short position where A-Core is looking for him. Very surprised that G2 keep having a crack at these B-set plays. We saw that the mid control came through from a top mid and window smoke. Hunter tried to get into connector. He was able to do damage, but there was no way of bringing that bomb back out towards the A site because first of all, the bomb was dropped, and second of all, Nico was in the site.
Second tactical called by G2 now. mousesports, knowing they got this T side running on fumes. And 3 rounds to the comeback here for mousesports. Can they do what G2 could not over on Dust 2 and bring this back to be a map and a series win for them? For G2, the first question you ask is, what's the buy? Do they force here for round 24? I don't think that they should do. We have seen what the force buy rounds can do for this side, however. Half buy is the better option, and it seems that to be the case. Tech9's the Eagles. Amanek could go a little bit harder if he wants to. Just opts for the Deagle, no Kevlar.
Yeah, not a lot of investment here from G2, and for mousesports, it's just building up momentum, building up self-confidence now. And Bemis, I know that he's had a really quiet game out of Mirage, but the B-side players have really started to step up. Dexter in particular, these last few rounds are starting to find some form again. Nade up towards the apartments, further damage coming in towards Nextra and Amanek. And for G2, they're just hoping to try and see, okay, can we get a pick or two? Can we try and get a bomb plan? Haven't really seen any play out towards the A side in a while now for the T side. Oh!
As soon as you say that, there's a pick for Nico from Connector. Halfway could still be worth something if they can get those frags and continue with them the demand advantage. Next to an Amanek have been tagged to everybody's rifles, so there's still easy trade potential for the mousesports side. A minute to the clock. Frozen's watching from short control. Nico could give up his life, and indeed he does. There's a good pick back.
They know that at least there's an AWP up towards this CT position, but how can they try and bait? At least get the shoulder peek in. Frozen now trying to peek in from that short position. G2, if they can get a player up in towards Sniper's Nest, then maybe there could be a bit of a walkout towards jungle. Vents popped open, so there could be a play in towards B as well if they so want it.
Frozen finds another. Looking left and right with 30 seconds remaining. There's a backstab in for Hunter. Ooh, Dexter. Is it stabby time? No, it's just shot to the face. M4 back in the back corner. The siphon off this bomb getting to sight. He gets a kill alongside BMAS, dealing with the lurker at Jackson, dropping that bomb for good. A core with the AWP pick as mousesports secure 11. And G2 back up on the rifles.
A nice avenue of approach there from Hunter. You could see that he was really trying to see if he could find a 2-for-1. Knowing that that vent had been popped open, he'd been able to slow down and make his way in for market, get in behind the CT side. But as soon as Dexter starts to turn the corner and look towards his right, he's got to take the pick. He can't afford to make sure that he's not taking that fight. 11 now up on the board for mousesports, really starting to bring this comeback back. And Frozen looking to go aggressive up towards short.
M4 ducked down on the boost spot position. I don't think the teams are expecting it, and indeed Jax isn't. He knows about Hunter as well, but Frozen just happy to get that first pick, put nades on position, allow Rops instead to get the other frag on that player. Hunter making his way through connector, and that's an instant 5v3 for mousesports.
This was a 13-6 scoreline at one point for G2. mousesports are really starting to bring this back now. 5-on-3 in round 25, and you've got to wonder, what are their options? They've got a lurk out for Nico, who's already been seen up towards a short position. AWP flick comes back up, only gets the tag. Nexa now alone and seen with the bomb in the apartments. Nade coming up for Dexter, and Nexa just has to try and see if he can find this pick, get down towards a B side, deal with the short player, knows there's a player out towards Van, trying to see if he can create himself an angle, and now into the 1 versus 2.
Taking the plant, trying to force another CT player out. AWP almost gave him the onus. In more specific positioning, that jump face is not going to go well for Nexa. Good effort on that clutch. mousesports giving up those 1v1s to allow those 2 picks to come in. Should have really rotated the moment the first face out of apartments came through. But 12 to the board. G2 now have mousesports riding right up behind them. Tailgating the lead at 13-12. And another tactical forced in. This third one coming through for G2. They're third in this map up. mousesports have really turned this game around. 2 rounds away from taking the lead. And I don't even know if the buy's on the table here for G2.
It shouldn't be. You look in that position at 1v4, and when Nexa gets both anchors, you're almost expecting him to just plant instantly. He gets that bomb down. They've got enough money to buy with the max round loss bonus and the extra $800, but without getting that bomb down, without sort of just faking it and trying to draw the CTs, he then doesn't allow that buy status to come through into round 26. So an eco coming through, you're almost expecting mousesports to take this and tie it up at 13-13. A hero Galil to come through from the in-game leader at G2, and looking like it could be a set piece out towards the A side.
Well, Amanek's going to try and wrap in. Body blocking being heard, of course, drawing his attention up. One of the 2 AWPs in play, the other on short. And the waterfall set up straight out of the Palace control. BMAS there, sees Nexa, drops that bomb. Knows that Jax also made his way out wide. The Deagle can get a response to a 4 versus 4. And a core now knows that jungle is contested. Amanek with his Tech 9 ready to cut this AWPer off. He's low HP, so the pistol can easily win the fight. The bomb can cross and get planted in the interim, though. G2 are going to set up the retake.
It feels like the first plant in just forever now for the T side, and Amanek's been able to at least find that kill, but Akor was there quickly with the trade. Back to the 3 versus 3 now, and Jax is just so low.
So is a core, though. Pretty even standing for me. They had a nade on to put down towards that Tetris position. That'd be great. They actually put it down towards Dark instead on the default plant position. They've got to move in now. Galil out. Frozen isolates. It looks for Jax. Gets the double. All left to Nico. Mollied away from Palace. They've got to get on the bomb right now, though. They're out of time. And Nico being heard. Flick back. Not connecting his Deagle. Defuse will be stuck and secured this time. 13 all. mousesports have equalized. You mentioned 13-6 at one point for G2. That's 7 in a row for mousesports. At least they get the buyback here. More rifles for round 27.
And they can feel this whole momentum really start to shift now. 7 rounds in a row. I mean, what a comeback this has been from mousesports to really bring it over the line. And 1 round could actually give them the lead. Double orbs now coming through from Akor and Robs. They've been able to do a lot of damage between one another. AWP actually playing out from ladder from Robs, waiting for a fast swing out from the mid control, but it's quite passive for the T side in their mid default.
Better passive as we've seen G2 play all half long so far. Is that going to be to their hindrance once again? Is there going to be a 14th going the way of the CT side? They themselves are also pretty passive. No mid control, no con control. One player starting to swing up towards the ramp position and start to force forward, but BMAS not extending so far, just to look for the first contact.
Very silent. Amanek just with a little bit of a lurk towards the apartments. Dexter playing on the balcony position. Rumbu's coming through. No one playing out from mid. The AWP is still holding this line from Robs. He has not given up on this chance.
Hunter with the smoke and the Molotov. Still they hold the angle. The Molotov should force Robs back out of the ladder room. Looking back through Sniper's Nest perhaps. Does he suspect aggressive T-side presence? Right now he's not going to see any of it. They're going to make their way in connector instead. Smokes and flashes go down. Rops can peek in. He's going to be ahead too late to the marker. The smokes will start to clear. They've still got CTs close to the bomb site. Nico gets that first pick. Nexa swings back on BMAS. And a core. Close range here at the ticket booth. Can't go for the wall banks. He'll attempt it. Get forced away by the AK spray. And a 5-on-3 situation. He knows that Hunter is boosted on the boxes. But Hunter's not giving him a second chance at the kill. A core's going to back off as a result. mousesports, they're saving.
A beautiful, beautiful take of that A side to come through from G2. They split a player in from Palace late, players out from ramp and up from connector, and it's just timed so well. You can see the player on default really struggling to look the right way. Bemis is kind of thinking to himself, do I look up towards Palace? Do I look behind me in case I get swung? And it gets to a position where it just gets very uncomfortable up on the site. The entries just flow through. They deal with Robs very early on. Great utility out towards that ladder room position to try and force him off angle and force him away. 14 up for G2. They are not giving up this lead.
Got equalized in the previous round. mousesports still holding pressure, still have a buyback. Can probably buy for the next 2 rounds, even if G2 can win them. Double orbs back in for Rops on a call. You mentioned their impact. Rops is the second highest fragger for his team. Third highest in server in general. Gonna rely on that talent to be able to secure a round soon here for the mousesports side. They found themselves so many in a row. They found themselves within touching distance of stealing the lead away from G2, but is it going to play out like Dust2 again? Are G2 finally going to find that new breath of life that gets them past the finish line and secure themselves a spot in the qualifying best of 3?
Or Acor just trying to get baited, but he's here in the apartments to allow that aggressive player to come through from Frozen. Molly out. Might try and force the M4 a bit forward. Wall bank shot doesn't quite connect. Instead, it's just more damage coming up to Acor. And G2, these last couple of rounds have been very zone, very silent. And for mousesports, they haven't really made an aggressive play. This is the first time up towards the apartments we've seen that. And a boost might even come through from window for the T's.
BMAS watching there from Palace Control, back at Dark as well. He's only had 5 kills in this game. Needs backup severely. Dexter's going to get there, but overwhelmed. Rops gets his AWP pick in. BMAS waiting back at the corner, panicking a little bit, especially as Rops goes down. They face, they frag, they find a 4-on-2, and mousesports already backing off. They don't want to have anything to do with this site. It'll be map and match point for G2. Mousesports got to get 2 on the trot to take us to OT. Is this the part where they finally fall?
But the info gathering in that round is everything. There's a position where they're putting so much emphasis out towards Connector in terms of the utility and the presence that Nexa, with that late lurk out in Palace, he hears, like, Beamer starting to rotate away. He hears him making footsteps under balcony, and they can relay that information over. Yeah, they don't know about Robs being aggressive out towards ramp, but they at least know where one of the players is. If they just swing together, Frozen trying to hold on to his weapon up towards the mid-spawn. Does get away with a couple of kills being swung in. Acor misses the shot. Does he stay alive? Just. Oh, okay. G2, though, up to 15. And for mousesports, just think about their perspective, Jay. To come back from 6 to 13 down to almost take a lead. And now for G2 to potentially close it out by a winning streak.
Tactical pause for mousesports. Really important one at this stage. Only their second being called in, so they got 2 more for the OT if we go there. They're going to pass that AWP off to Rob, so they're seeming like they want the double AWP setup again. Core should be able to buy it, no trouble. And G2 feeling the pressure here. mousesports probably feeling it as well. Who's going to get crushed? Who's going to lose out that final hurdle? A Core? Are you not going to buy the AWP, my man? Like, he's going Tech 9 in this round. Is that a HUD bug? I don't know, doesn't matter. Jack straight up here. Rob's going to be forced out, gets the collateral shot. Trying to make it 3. Might not need that secondary AWP. It won't matter. BMAS getting into support here. 4 versus 2. mousesports starting to lose players here to the trades of Nico and Hunter. Now just Nico standing alone here. Bomb dropped outside of Sandwich. Got to peek in, got to catch Dexter at least. Maybe swing upon Frozen. He's falling back though. mousesports starting to reposition. It's all a case of timing.
They just can't really give up any individual jewels, and Nico's just hoping for the 1v1s. Knows there's a player out towards CT, gets the deagle out, might be able to find the angle onto a Gore. The timing's everything. He's been tagged up, waiting for the swing out for Jungle. Connects the headshot onto Dexter, and now it's just down to 2. Nico needs to go back and try and pick up that bomb. He doesn't have any utility for safety, and Frozen coming in for the short position. Acor repositioning too.
Nico backing up to Connector. Is he going to slip past them, or we might just do... Frozen's got to check mid right now. Does get the shot in, just denies that clutch for Nico. But you saw for a second it was on. Not to be. 14 for mousesports. Overtime is calling. Are they going to take us the full 9 yards? Rifles out. Final buy for G2. The economy's limited, but that won't matter here. They've still got the 4x, they've still got full sector utility. Double flashes, smokes, molotovs. Already in to try deny it. The smoke down at the sniper's nest. A core ready for first contact. They try to run boost, they'll fail it, and that allows the opening kill.
Nicely done. Just trying to see if they can bait out the AWP, but it doesn't happen. Good shot comes through from a core, giving himself a little bit of an angle, putting that incendiary down before the smoke blooms, giving him that one way to work with. And now for G2, they're starting to regroup up in the T-spawn, trying to see if they can line up the util in for the A-site commitment. They've got Hunter as a late lurk from the underpass position, but they've got to find a pickback. They've got to find an advantage.
Emas and Rops, this duo here on the A site. Rops definitely the central focus of the defensive. They've got the man advantage. They've got the control of this round. They just have to run this clock to nothing or get every player to fall. 50 seconds. Nico sees the shoulder, gets Rops. Do they check sandwich? I think one player's watching it. Molotov's close. Next time his back turn. Bomb goes falling as a result, but BMAS burns Dexter. Comes up with a swing from stairs. Hunter out in connector. Dexter trying to get back to jungle. Nico pressing forward the AWP. 3-on-2. Hunter looking to strike. 30 seconds. The bomb can get picked up and planted at least.
They've got to get that bomb down. They've got to rely on Hunter to be the guy to peek out. Bomb plant open for short, trying to see if they could draw the CT's attention forward. And now Hunter's able to strike back to a 2v2. And Nico hits the shot. It's all down to a core now in the 1v2.
AWP clutch on the table, 10 seconds. Will he go for the wall bang? The nade, can he come in time? No, he gets the kill on Nico, but doesn't deny the plant. Now Hunter knows where he's at. AWP v AK, jump facing, smoke for the defuse. Can he get behind hard cover? Nade back, tapping it, forcing Hunter to spray now. Nose connector is the play. Swinging out to the right-hand side, but Hunter ducks his head down, and now a calls on a bomb for good. But the first bullet, the one tap, secures 16 and secures G2 the round, secures them the series at the very last second. mousesports comeback is broken in half.
What an end to the series. I mean, just you break that round down. They try and fake the bomb plan out towards a short position, draw it out. I don't know how Nico is able to flick back up towards a short player, bring it back to a 2v1. A core looked like he was going to be able to bait the bomb, just tap it, draw out in the open, and Hunter wins it 16-14 on the last map of the series. Heartbreaking for mousesports, but for G2, they've done it. They've taken the victory.
And to think, mousesports, man, that's going to hurt them going into the lower bracket because they were that close.
Yeah.
They were that close. They got the first pick on round 30. By all accounts, you would have hoped that Rops would have, he would have done enough with that weapon with a core, the AWP pick as well. Like, you think about how that last round went, and I'm just a little bit star-studded and shocked that that's how things went down. For G2, it is a comeback that they shouldn't have let happen, though. So how did mousesports really get to this position in the first place, Dwayne?
That's a good question. I think there was a little bit of complacency coming through from G2, maybe letting some of these rounds slip. I think there wasn't enough adaptation on the T side. We just saw BXE after BXE after BXE, and they weren't converting the rounds. Eventually, they ended up going, okay, let's run out a little bit more of a default. And then once they started making more plays towards the A side, that's where it ended up being a little bit more successful. You've got to remember, too, with that big streak of rounds, a lot of momentum was coming forward. A lot of AKs was passed over to the mousesports side. And for G2,